They say there is calm before the storm. The same goes for your brain. Your brain chemistry was completely fine, but then this video is about what happens when you have a crush. When you have a crush on someone, does your heart beat faster? Do you feel flushed? Do your hands feel cold? Have a dry mouth and can't think straight? This describes a panic attack. Do you think about them over and over again? Think you can do anything for them, even make personal sacrifices? That describes addiction. Do you do things over and over again, like calling them, texting them, thinking once you do it, it will make everything alright? That's OCD. Panic attack, addiction and OCD at the same time? Pretty scary, yet having a crush is wonderful. Some terms related to it are thinking with your heart, following your heart, you stole my heart, heartbroken, etc. That is all fine, but let's forget the heart and focus on the brain. Forget the romance and talk in terms of science. So what exactly happens when we have a crush? Let's start with what makes you fall for someone. As our lives continue, we create an unconscious list in our brain for what we want in our partner. This list includes a variety of factors such as you can fall for someone who cares for you in a familiar way. You're likely to fall for someone who reminds you of the way your parents loved you, for the better or worse. You can fall for someone due to increased exposure. Daily interactions with someone can make strangers into friends. Sometimes it can also lead to a crush. Perhaps the reason why people have crushes at school, university or work. You can fall for someone due to their personality. Being warm and competent are broadly desirable. In competent people, the intelligent and socially skilled are found most attractive. Similarity. If someone speaks your language, eats your food, shares the same values, it's easy to communicate. People prefer people who are like them over someone who is opposite to them. Also over someone who is complementary to them, as in someone who completes them. Physical attractiveness. Our brain reward system is responsible for how we evaluate attractiveness. Dopamine is a feel-good hormone. It is released as reward when you eat delicious food, win a gamble, and also when you look at something beautiful. So having good looks is definitely an advantage when it comes to finding a partner. And if you have kids, you're likely to pass on this advantage to them. One interesting study where a group of straight, cisgender women were asked to smell the t-shirts of 6 men. They reported liking the smell of men who had genes complementary to their immune system. Just like this, there might be a million factors which create your own personal taste, including you being told what to look for. Initially, you are not looking for anybody, but as testosterone and estrogen levels rise in your body, there is a drive to look for someone. When you do see a potential partner, your brain activates its network, which holds your unconscious list telling you who to fall for. If there is a match, the result is your heart rate rises, butterflies in the stomach, and obsessive thinking about them. Congratulations, you have a crush. This marks the beginning of a hormonal storm. When you look at the picture of your crush, 2 regions in your brain activate: caudate nucleus, the reward pathway, and ventral tegmental area, which is responsible for pleasure and focus, releasing dopamine and norepinephrine. Reward, pleasure and focus. No wonder you look at the Instagram again and again for hours. All your attention is now on them, and because of dopamine and norepinephrine, you feel good and excited. You might be distracted in all other areas of your life, but you're very focused on your crush, almost as if norepinephrine is putting a spotlight on them. The same areas of your brain are activated in cocaine consumption and causes craving. Remember people who talk to each other all night, all day, travel across the world and do things that otherwise wouldn't? Even doing their part of the group project instead of watching anime? And no, that guy was definitely not me. At this point, you are a dopamine junkie, addicted to your crush. And guess what? Despite knowing all the ways it is affecting your life, you will do it all over again just for the dopamine kick. The dopamine, along with norepinephrine, leads to new memory formations. These short-term events get stored in your brain in a very vivid manner. Your crush might not be able to recall anything about you, but you remember everything about them, from the slightest touch of hand to what they were wearing. The dopamine spike also causes you to feel highly motivated, almost as if you can achieve anything, like getting a crush to say yes, even if they're out of your league. There's a hormone called serotonin, which is a mood stabilizer, makes you feel calm and in control. But guess what happens when you need it the most during a crush to think straight? Like a traitor, it drops. And now you have obsessive thoughts and showcase obsessive behavior for your crush. You send them memes, like their posts, and react to every story. You get the idea. Now you're probably reflecting upon your past choices, but focus here because I have a tip for you. An increase in cortisol, the stress hormone, can make your brain pump dopamine and norepinephrine. So for the sake of optimism, let's say they say yes for a date. Take them to a scary movie or a scary ride, anything that makes them stressed. When the stress is gone and they feel great because of the dopamine and norepinephrine, they are more likely to fall for you. Hormones can be manipulative, but free will is a facade anyway. And for more videos like this, subscribe to my channel. Now a pattern established that by just looking at them, you feel good. Now you will look for more things to like about them, almost as if feeding your own confirmation bias. Every time you find a pattern, you get rewarded with dopamine. And now, more norepinephrine makes you even more focused on finding even more patterns. When you find them, more dopamine and more norepinephrine. And the cycle continues. Fun fact, diamonds are not supposed to be that expensive. Their supply is artificially controlled, and through aggressive marketing, their demand is increased, increasing their perceived value. Why is this random fact important? Every time you find a pattern that leads to dopamine, serotonin increases its value. So while your crush might have some good things about them, like being shiny like a diamond, you're grossly overestimating how much they mean to you. So everything normal about them becomes more attractive. Just like the lyrics, I love it when you call me senorita, even though there is nothing romantic about being called senorita. And guess what it leads to? More dopamine. You like them so much now that even if you see red flags, red is now your favorite color. Your risk-benefit analysis is all messed up now. Any benefit of the feelings being mutual are overvalued and all the risks are being ignored, even if they are clear as day to your friends. But what do they know about the hormonal storm in your brain? Now what? You approach your crush, there's a possibility things might end happily ever after. But there's a possibility it won't. This causes fear. The part of your brain called the amygdala goes nuts and it raises a siren. Heart rate rises, your mouth is dry. Basically a panic attack. And if you see them with someone else, the fear increases. And if you're rejected, like an addict whose drug is being taken away from them, you get withdrawal symptoms, grief, anger, longing for them, etc. You can deal with your emotions in a healthy manner, like most people, and move on. Or you can stalk your crush, which again leads to more dopamine. Flies too, when rejected by their mates, turn to alcohol-soaked food rather than its non-alcoholic equivalent. Relax, you're not a fly. The fly's lifespan is only a month, while you are still not over the person who flirted with you when quarantine started. Now for the sake of optimism again, let's say the feelings were mutual. The gamble paid off. Dopamine, norepinephrine and serotonin increase. The sex hormones testosterone and estrogen also increase. Now oxytocin is released. Oxytocin calms down everything. No more panicking, OCD and addiction. It also increases their value for you, leading to commitment. All the craziness is now settling down and you're gaining a sense of security. Oxytocin, otherwise called the cuddle hormone or the love hormone, is released during physical touch. But calling it the love hormone is misleading. It increases social feelings of all kinds, from love and trust to jealousy, envy and suspicion. Along with oxytocin, another important hormone for attachment and bonding is vasopressin. The importance of these hormones can be seen in prairie and mountain voles, which have very different numbers of oxytocin and vasopressin receptors. While mountain voles are sexually promiscuous, prairie voles mate for life. Now that was quite a journey from having a crush to them having mutual feelings. So having a crush might be like having a panic attack, OCD and addiction at the same time. But so what? If the gamble pays off, it doesn't matter who you end up with, because they will end up meaning the world to you. Or serotonin and oxytocin will make them so. The end.